All right, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. That sinking feeling in your stomach when something that's supposed to work just doesn't. Your laptop, your headphones, the Wi-Fi right before a deadline. It's so frustrating, right? But what if fixing things wasn't some kind of dark magic? What if it was just a skill, a mindset? Well, today, we're going to learn how to think like a detective and solve pretty much any problem that comes your way.
So, for our little mystery today, let's imagine this string of lights. They were working perfectly yesterday, totally fine. But today, you plug them in, you flip the switch, and darkness. Zip. Nada. Now, your first instinct might be to get angry, maybe start shaking them around. But a good detective doesn't panic. They start looking for clues. And honestly, that is the absolute key. Troubleshooting isn't about guessing or just getting lucky. It's a system. It's a logical process that takes you from total confusion to a clear, aha solution. And it's a skill that once you really get it, you can use for just about anything that goes wrong.
So, what's in this detective's toolkit? It's a really simple but super powerful 3-step framework. We're going to call it APM. It stands for Analysis, Planning, and Measuring. This is the exact approach that engineers, coders, and all those expert problem solvers use every single day to bring a little order to the chaos. So let's break that down real quick. First up, analysis. That's when you survey the scene, you gather all your clues before you touch anything. Then there's planning. You take those clues and you form a logical theory, a plan of attack. And finally, measuring. This is where you actually get your hands dirty, run your tests, and interrogate the suspects to find out who the real culprit is. Okay, so let's dive into step 1, analysis, or gathering clues. Now, this is probably the most important step, and ironically, it's the one most of us skip because we're in a rush to just do something. But hold on, before you start taking things apart, you gotta stop, look, and think. You have to ask the right questions. So what are those key questions for our broken lights? Well, first, has it ever worked? Yep, worked perfectly yesterday. That's huge. It tells us the thing isn't a dud, it's capable of working. Second, what were the conditions when it failed? Well, it got packed up, moved across the room, and plugged into a different outlet. Aha, a clue. The move itself is a prime suspect. Third, what are the symptoms? Easy, the whole string is dead. Not flickering, not dim, just completely off. And finally, what are the possible causes? Well, based on everything we just learned, it's probably a loose bulb from being moved, or maybe one bulb burned out and broke the whole circuit. Could be a damaged wire, or heck, maybe the new outlet is the problem. So, look at that. After just a minute of thinking, we've gone from, it's broken, to a focused investigation. We've narrowed it down to a faulty bulb or a bad connection as our most likely suspects. And we haven't even touched the lights yet. We're already way ahead of the game. Now we can move on to step 2. We've got our clues, we've got our suspects, now we need a plan. A good detective never just barges into a crime scene. Acting without a plan is just a good way to waste time, and you might even make the problem worse. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The source material says it perfectly. Much time can be saved by proper planning. It sounds so simple, but skipping this is the #1 rookie mistake. This isn't about working harder. It's all about working smarter. So, what is our smart plan? Well, the brute force way would be to sit there and unscrew every single one of those 8 bulbs one by one. But, that's so tedious and inefficient. Our plan is to find a faster, way more logical way to zero in on the problem area without all that busy work. And that brings us to the grand finale, step 3, measuring. This is where the action happens. We execute our plan, we test our theory, and to do that, we're going to pull out a brilliant technique that is basically the troubleshooter's secret weapon. The technique is called half-splitting. It really is all about dividing and conquering. Instead of trying to find one tiny problem in this big, long string, we're just going to systematically chop it in half, again and again, until the problem has nowhere left to hide. So, what is half-splitting, really? It is exactly what it sounds like. You split the system, in this case our string of lights, right down the middle. Then you test to see which half has the problem. It lets you eliminate huge chunks of the problem area super, super fast. Okay, let's see it in action. For our first test, we check the circuit right in the middle, between bulb 4 and bulb 5. The test comes back good. The first half is fine. Now, what does that tell us? It means the problem has to be somewhere in the second half. And just like that, with one single test, we've cleared half our suspects. 50%. in one move. We just cut our problem in half. Instead of 8 bulbs to worry about, we're down to just 4. Now that is the power of a logical plan.
So what's next? You guessed it. We do it again. We take that bad group of 4 bulbs and we split it in half. Our test tells us the problem is in the last 2 bulbs. So we split that little group in half one last time, and boom, it leads us directly to the one bad bulb. Case closed.
So what's the big takeaway here? Using our APM method and this awesome half-splitting technique, we found the one faulty bulb out of 8 in just a handful of logical steps. No random guessing, no unscrewing every single component, just pure, efficient detective work. Now, you might be thinking, that's cool for Christmas lights, but what about me? Okay, this is where it gets really exciting. This AMPM mindset, this way of thinking, it's not just for electronics. It's a troubleshooting superpower you can use absolutely everywhere. I mean, think about the alternative, right? When you hit a wall, you can start guessing randomly, which just wastes time, makes you frustrated, and can honestly make things even worse. Or you can use the APM method. It saves time, it's a calm, logical process, and most important, it actually finds the real root cause of the problem.
And you can already see how this applies to everything, right? Got a bug in your code? Don't just start changing stuff and praying. Analyze the error message, form a theory, and then half split. Comment out half your code and see if the bug is still there. Your group project is falling apart? Analyze the symptoms. Are you behind schedule? Plan a meeting and measure to find out which part is the real bottleneck. Even your Wi-Fi. Is it your laptop? The router? The internet provider? Divide and conquer to find out.
See, in the end, this is more than just a set of steps. It's a whole new way to look at the world, with curiosity and logic instead of just frustration. It's about turning yourself from someone who gets stopped by problems into someone who sees them as puzzles, just waiting to be solved. So I'll leave you with this. What problem are you going to solve with it first?